Hey guys, welcome back to Fire Emblem Three Houses. Potentially the last video, I'm honestly not sure. Since I do this unedited, I kind of just come across stuff as we go along. So this might be it, I'm not sure. But where we left off was in a really inconvenient location. I was out of time, unfortunately, but we have met Lysithea in the Goddess Tower just after defeating Rhea the Immaculate One, where her crest and I guess the blood of her powers had gone awry, had gone berserk. Not really sure exactly what happened there. And we had just found out that the reason why we can use the Sword of the Creator is because we actually have a Crest of Ceros in us, inside of our heart, that Rhea had placed. So that was a thing. And now we're, I guess this is considered the post-game. This is after the final battle. Let's hop right in and see what Lysithea has to say here, and then wrap up the game for whatever that looks like. Here we go.
Professor,
We've done what we can.
We have. I can feel that the crests are no longer a part of me.
Oh, we succeeded. We removed them. Wow.
That must mean my body will.
We can't say for sure, but we can hope. We did it. Yay.
Thank you, Professor. No matter the outcome, I feel a sense of peace. I have hope, and that hope will carry me through it all. You've done so much, searching for a way to remove my crest, to save me. I can't tell you how much it means to me.
So, what will you do now?
I will not claim my title. House Ordelia will end with my father's generation.
Good for you, Lysithea. Good for you.
After this, I'm going to begin preparations for our family's dissolution.
Wow.
This will ensure that the people of our territory will not be troubled, and my parents will be able to live out their lives in peace.
Then after that?
A good question. I hadn't considered it, but assuming I have life left in me, would it be alright if I came back here to stay by your side? Without my crests, I'm not sure what all I'd be able to do for you.
Oh.
But you have given me a new life. I want to use my time to support you however I can.
Lysithea, I want you to have this.
Oh, This is...
I'll be waiting for your safe return.
What I said earlier about not caring what the outcome of all this is, I take it back.
Oh.
For the longest time, I didn't think I'd be around to be a part of the future you and everyone were creating, that I had no place in it.
Oh, wow. Actually, that makes a lot of sense based on... I mean, how do I put this? We knew that she had a limited lifespan and she was doing what she could to make her mark on history, essentially. But it puts into context this phrase. Like, I mean, it's something that you would kind of like be like, all right, yeah, she knows she's gonna die soon. But in the context of there's a future that you are in that I will not be a part of, that puts a lot of her acting into context. And that really is what it was. It was acting, that she was lashing out, that she was frustrated and angry. And so it was so unfair to her. But she still wanted to do everything she could to make sure that everyone is safe, the war was won, that everything went well. Even if she thought that she wasn't going to be part of that future. Oof.
But now, I cannot fight it any longer. I do care, and I do not wish to give up on chasing that future. I do not wish to die. I refuse to give up on myself or on our future.
Good.
And so, I promise to come back to you, no matter what. Once I'm back...
Aww. We will chase that future together.
Yes, I quite like the sound of that. Together.
Aww.
It is decided. We will be together forever, living long, full lives. Count on it, my love.
Oh, this is such a sweet picture. Oh. Oh. Well, that was nice. What else you got for me, game? Bring it. Battle data. Oh, this is funny. What? Jax was the MVP before? No way. This is fun. This is really fun. Oh, look at those people who are dead. Huh. Wow, Hubert was a bit of a rock star, wasn't he? Rumored nuptials. Oh yeah, the paralogs. Jax was doing a lot, wasn't he? And then I got Lysithea in my party, and she started to take the spotlight a little bit. Good old Hubert again. And Raph! Oh, look at him! He's got a baby face! More Lysithea. More Lysithea. And the paralog. Oh, an ocean view! That was Flane's one. With Seth, if I recall. Lawrence? Oh, it was a paralog, that's why. More Lysithea. Oh yeah, and then Jax changed. Oh yeah, that was a time skip. Lysithea just rocking it. Leonie just kicking butt. My goodness. Lysithea just look at her go. Oh, good old Ferdinand. Oh, he got a couple back to back. Look at that. Not bad. Oh, I'm glad to see that it got spread out quite a bit. I mean, I know I changed my parties up a lot. Inclusion of the crossing roads. I love that Bernadetta was the MVP of the final battle. It's all the flyers. All those creatures were flyers, so she was just destroying them. But now. Hello? Okay. Oh, this is cute. Anna's business savvy proved to be a great asset in the post-war reconstruction of Garreg-Mach. Once the restoration was complete, she disappeared from the area entirely, though tales of a mysterious merchant were passed down in every corner of the world for centuries to come. Some say she continues her travels even to this day, eternally peddling her wares and ever in search of the next lucrative opportunity. Catherine! 0 battles, 0 victories. When Ray resigned her position of Archbishop and left the Church of Ceros, Catherine followed. She devoted herself wholly to Ray's protection, and the two lived a life of quiet seclusion. Though Thunderbrand remained always by her side, she became known by a different name, the Guardian of Zanado. Oh. Good. Son of the Knights! Aloes! Once all the fighting had come to an end, Aloes officially took the position of captain of the Knights of Ceros. Yes! In this capacity, he was much beloved, and the Knights became more unified than ever under his command. It is said that their accomplishments during this tenure were beyond even what Gerald's troop had achieved. Oh, nice! Aloes has such a freaking huge heart. Divine Songstress. Benuela left Garreg-Mach to build her own academy in a small, war-torn town. There, she contributed heavily to the rebuilding efforts while teaching future generations the necessary skills of survival. Though she never married or had children of her own, she spent the last years of her life happily devoted to her students. Aww. Aww, she found peace and happiness without a man involved. Limitless potential. Unable to serve Ray any longer, Cyril nearly left the church. She was persuaded to stay, however, to assist in rebuilding a monastery he had helped maintain. Thanks to his devoted work ethic, the Officers' Academy was able to reopen a few years later. When the new students took the reception hall, Cyril found himself among them. Aww. Yay! He became a student. Distant archer. Shortly after the war, Shamir gave up the mercenary life and disappeared. Though she was never heard from again, rumors swirled persistently for years of a master archer turned thief who lined her pockets by shaking down all those who preyed upon the innocent. Wait, the Robin Hood. Bloomed overachiever. Annette returned to her hometown of Ferdiad, where she took up a teaching position at the Royal School of Sorcery. She was a gifted instructor, and many of her students went on to become world-renowned sages. Though her talent for teaching was remarkable in its own right, she was perhaps most remembered for effortlessly securing the trust and respect of her many students, as well as inspiring all who knew her by living a life of kindness, cheer, and humility. Nice. Noble of the Red Rose. Soon after the war, Lorenz assumed leadership over House Gloucester and helped govern Fodlan as representative of the Old Alliance lords. His political talent yielded revolutionary policy changes, many of which were of particular benefit to the common folk. Good for you. Good for you. Survivor of the Curse and Father of Christology. After the war, Marion and Hanneman stayed in touch and deepened their friendship through letters. When Hanneman's crest research fell on hard times, Marion was able to secure Margrave Edmund's financial support to allow his work to continue. The research bore fruit in the form of magical tools would be used even without the aid of Krez, and the funding allowed these tools to be produced in great number. After Marion inherited her adopted father's house, she guided Hanneman to create a branch of research devoted to peaceful applications of Christology, a legacy of Marion's later years. That's awesome. The Blade Breaker 2. Leonie joined up with the mercenaries formerly led by Geralt. As his greatest apprentice, she quickly took on a leadership role and eventually even inherited the title Blade Breaker. She came to be known as Geralt II, as she began to resemble him in all things, including his drinking habits. She left behind many unpaid tavern tabs. Aww. Arrow of Justice and Benevolent Soul. After the war, Ash was formally knighted and appointed the new head of House Caspar, which had no successors. The young and inexperienced lord faced a great deal of difficulty in governing. Though he was famously tenacious and never lost heart, he was perhaps only due to his constant counsel of his wife, Mercedes, that he managed to overcome all obstacles. When not busy governing their territory, the couple lifted one another's spirits by baking delicious sweets for one another. The tradition was so heartwarming it became popular for husbands and wives in that region to do the same for generations. Aww. Cute. Zedith and Flayn. When Flayn disappeared soon after the war, Zedith stayed at the monastery and worked to restore the authority of the Church of Seros. Doing away with his strictness, he adopted a tolerant stance toward all and encouraged his followers to do the same. When he was satisfied that the message was received, he vanished from the monastery. Several centuries later, a man and a woman in ancient attire emerged to a Fodlan that had drastically changed. When she asked the man beside her if it would be alright in this new area to call him father, he said that perhaps it would be better to remain on the safe side. Worldly artist and free spirit. After Hilda returned home, her fashionable accessories achieved widespread popularity, leading her to create the first artisan academy in Fodlan. While shopping for art supplies, she had a chance reunion with Ignatz, who had persuaded his family to allow him to travel the world as an artist. Yes! Hilda invited Ignatz to teach her at school, and as she and his enchanted landscapes and darned the two gradually fell in love. Aww, their romance birthed a new style that inspired artists in Fodlan for generations. Aww, that was not a likely pair to me. That's a... Hey! Felix and Sylvain! Even after war's end, skirmishes continued to break out across Fodlan. Learning that there were still places where he fought, Felix abandoned, or he could fight. He abandoned his noble title and chose to make a living with his sword. Decades later, reunited briefly with Sylvain, who needed his services at Margrave Gautier. Felix's part of the job was finished, however, and the two never met again. Years later, a sword that was thought to have belonged to Felix arrived on Sylvain's doorstep. Oh, that's kind of sad. Jeez. Ingrid and Raph. When Gallia Galatea territory was seized. Ingrid argued strongly for preservation of its borders. Her request was granted, she pointed to the rule. Soon after, Raphael traveled there to pledge his service to Ingrid. He initially signed on his knight, but quickly discovered his services were even more desperately needed by the land's farmers, and instead focused his efforts on finding Galatea, improve his agriculture. Seeing more side by side with Gunfolk, became enamored with him, and eventually asked his hand in marriage. They held a modest but lively wedding, and the people happily gave their blessing to the union. Huh. Not bad. Well, look. Caspar and Dorothea, no way. After the war, Caspar set out alone on a journey of self-discovery. He traveled to every corner of Fodlan and even ventured abroad now and again. Though his antics found him no end of exciting adventures, he was always drawn back to Dorothea, who had returned to the Middle Frank Opera Company and embarked to the war. The two spent more and more time together over the years, and when Dorothea's efforts brought the opera house to the peak of his resurgence, she relinquished her position as songstress and disappeared from the stage. As rumors of the pair spent the rest of their lives together. Aww. Yay. Linhard and Petra. Petra returned to her homeland of Bridget and inherited the throne from her grandfather. As rule, she declared independence from Fodlan and renegotiated Bridget's diplomatic relationships on more equal terms. Next, she introduced industrial practices remodeled on those of Fodlan, vastly improving her homeland's economy. This rapid development surprised those abroad until it was discovered the improvements came thanks to the counsel of Petra's husband, Linhard, who left Fodlan to offer Bridget his talent and insight. It is said that the couple maintained a healthy and affectionate relationship and they raised many happy children together. Wow. What? After the war, Bernadetta renounced her claim to House Varley. She married Ferdinand, the new Duke Eyre, and the two contributed to relief efforts by instituting reforms across the dukedom. Due to the success of those policies, Ferdinand was offered the opportunity to help govern all Fodlan. He accepted, leaving the management of Eyre territory to his wife, while he worked to apply their ideas to the world at large. Since Ferdinand did not like to leave home, his life involved a lot of travel, but always said he embarked on his return home with a smile. Wow. And of course, Jackson Lysithea. Jackson announced his engagement to Lysithea shortly after becoming leader of the United Kingdom of Fodlan. Before they were officially wed, she returned home, helped her father to restore Ordelia territory, and offered to land up to be governed directly by the new kingdom. Once the affairs of Horse Ordelia were in order, Lysithea finally married and became queen. Even without her crest, she proved more than capable of the role, applying her great insight and intelligence toward a better Fodlan. When the rebuilding effort was complete, the couple and their children enjoyed long and peaceful lives. Yay. Ooh, that was a lot. Ooh, that was a lot. There were some unexpected pairings. Holy cow. Whew. Well, there we have it. The end of the game as far as I'm aware. Wow. Oh. Oh, I like this version. This is nice. Oh, stop. Okay, so normally I do like a final thoughts video after the fact, but I found that it's a lot. Well, the music's kind of loud here. I tell you what. Let's go ahead. Let me pause this, and we'll do a final thoughts afterwards. So hold on just a moment. Okie dokie. Let's see here. So we'll save. Oh, do you want to save cleared game data? This data can be used to start a new game plus. Okay. It's saved. Oh, hey, look, she's back. Hi, Sothis. Wait, Sothis? Yeah. Oh, anyway, that doesn't matter. Okay, so final thoughts, guys. I mean, I've shared a lot of my thoughts throughout the game. There are a lot of these things about this game that are fantastic, and there are a lot of things about this game that are not fantastic. One thing I will admit is that the regular. Okay, hang on. This can't happen. Let's not do that. Let's not do that. We'll just go here. We'll go into extras. We'll go into music library. And we put on Nope. 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 Let's find some nice things. There we go. Okay. Let's play that. So, some things the game does really, really well. The voice acting is phenomenal. The art is amazing. The actual battle system is fantastic. I'm liking the idea of going and checking out other Fire Emblem games at this point. Other things it does really well. The relationship building is fantastic. The characters themselves, I mean, like, everything about the soul and heart of this game is amazing. I enjoy it very, very much. The fact that the main character has almost no personality is kind of a bummer, though. The main character is the weakest part of this game. I know they want you to be a blank slate so that you can interact with the other characters however you feel like you need to, but unlike in Persona, specifically Persona 5, 4, and 3, which was what I'm familiar with the most, which is where you can kind of tell it takes some of its inspiration from. Sometimes when you have options to choose responses, they're flavored different ways. Like, you can be a little sassy, you can be deadpan, you can be stoic. Like, there's a couple ways that you can respond. In this game, there's really not. There's a couple places where you have a little bit of a tilt of interest, but not really. Now, again, this is a nitpick of mine. The grand scheme of things, this was a fantastic game. I had a great time. Part 2, the mechanics of the game, the battle system itself is actually really, really, really good. And I really did enjoy the two-phase process where you have exploring and then you have the fight at the end of the month. What I didn't like is the fact that it felt so incredibly rigid. Like, there's always a fight at the last day of the month, which is pure coincidence. It makes no sense. Like, for example, in Persona 3, and again, this is me comparing other games because I've never played another Fire Emblem, but in Persona 3, you had a full moon that brought about it, which is fine. Or in Persona 4, there was a lot of rain that would lead to a foggy day. And usually those are things that would tell you that something was about to happen. But it felt a lot more organic, like, full moon's coming, get ready, get ready. In this game, it's like you're literally looking at a calendar, and the very last day on the calendar every single month is when everything happens. On one hand, it allows you to organize and prepare a lot better for it, but at the same time, it started feeling really mechanical. And every time I had another month, I was like, oh, okay, well, alright. I mean, I've already done this like 8-9 times at this point, so I guess we'll go through the same mechanics, which is go do battles, go fight, go explore the monastery, and then at the end of the month, I actually get some story. And that kind of breadcrumb story feeding was really frustrating at times. Made it really hard to really want to play through the rest of the month to get to that point. In fact, near the end of the game, I was actually literally going in to do fights and putting on an auto battle and letting it just run through for me, because I was done. I really wanted to see more of the story and get there. And the fact that they kind of, once again, they give you small little breadcrumbs of information here and there, and don't really give you big old pieces of the story as you go throughout the month, that really hurt my enjoyment of the game. The story itself was still very enjoyable. I very much enjoyed it. Story, characters, setting, all of it was fantastic. It's just the way that they kind of fed the story as the last day of the month every single time. It's kind of weird. Kind of stinted my enjoyment of it. But again, a minor gripe. Maybe something that other people will have the same opinion on. I'm not sure. The last thing I'll really touch on about my final thoughts of this game is, well, this game, honestly, it actually was, how do I put this? My desire to naturally min-max or do as much as I can in my first playthrough, which is something I normally do. It's what I always do. This game suffers the same way as, say, a Tales game suffers from. For a player like me, you get bogged down so heavily in the mechanics of doing everything you can the first playthrough that you don't necessarily enjoy it as much because you're so focused on trying to get everyone. Now, in Tales games, it's the same issue. It's designed to be played multiple times. This is also designed to be played multiple times, but with varying storylines. The issue is with the story being so long for each arc, each house rather, and my need to min-max, and other players' possible desires to min-max a lot of their playthrough, whatever they can impact, it really slows down the game a lot. And I found about halfway through the game, I started getting tired of it. But I couldn't stop because I was almost there. I almost had all the characters in my party at that point. And I really wanted to get them all because I wanted to see their stories. But again, the stories are gated. And that was rough. It was really rough. The stuff was gated behind a lot of mechanics, like battles and doing meals every time you go to the monastery. And yeah, I get there's so many characters. It's not an easy way to organically develop those relationships in some way. Makes you have to combine them in a certain way that makes them work together. Like, for example, let's say Ignatz and Ash. They may never really spend time together at the monastery, so you slap them together on the battlefield, or you put them at the table to eat food together. You kind of force feed, quote unquote, those support levels, and it feels like it's all mechanics. It's not natural. But again, that's just a complaint. That's the vehicle for where you're going, which was, a wonderful support that would be amazing, that we could really enjoy. Is there any better way to do it? I don't know. Probably not. Honestly, it's probably the best they could do with what they wanted players to experience. So I don't necessarily find a flaw in how that was executed, so much as I find it very very mechanically driven instead of organic. So, complaint of mine. Oh, speaking of mechanics, the time skip. I hate the time skip, guys. The time skip is amazing because it gives you an opportunity to see how far they've come in those 5 years. Like, some of them are inheriting houses, some of them have lost family, some of them have gotten scars, some of them have really grown up, some of them haven't changed at all. Like Caspar, my goodness, he doesn't really change at all. Anyway, that time skip was amazing. I love the idea of being able to see these kids grow up into the adults they are. But at the same time, that time skip puts some really weird pressure on the supports for the developers. There were multiple times where I heard the child voice instead of the adult voice when they were adults. Very, very obvious with people like Ignatz, who had a very, very different voice from being, a 15-year-old kid to a 20-year-old adult, or what have you. And it was really weird. And honestly, the fact that they had to, they allowed these support ranks to be available for both before and after the time skip, I really feel like that was detrimental. And what's the solution to that? I mean, honestly, maybe drop down the amount of supports that you can get between party members. Maybe make it so that there's there's like the C and B rank that you can get from before, and then have fewer relationships available between characters for A's, or even an S after that between two characters, and kind of bloom that out a lot more instead of having a lot of different relationships between all these different characters. Because honestly, there are a couple characters that essentially came down to, you like food? I like food. You like nobility? I am nobility. And that's pretty much the extent of that experience between those two party members. And yes, it's fun and engaging, but at the end of the day, like, there was no development between them whatsoever. And if you can cut those out and maybe develop other relationships more to give more focus on those adult relationships between characters, instead of having this middle ground as the B rank where as adults you can kind of have the same issue being resolved as kids. Especially when these things where they're talking about, hey, remember that last time we talked about that thing, last Saturday, 5 years ago. that makes things really weird. Now the A ranks, though, were almost all exclusively amazing. I loved them. And the C ranks were very simple, and I enjoyed those as well, because it's introductory. But those B ranks, man, they get weird. They get really weird. But, I think that's about it on my final thoughts. Do I recommend this game to anybody? I think if you like the basic systems of a strategy game, and you don't mind visual novel-esque activities available to you, you'll very much like this game. If you like Persona, you'll probably like this game. If you're someone who does not like hitting a button through a lot of text, you're probably not going to enjoy this very much, because the issue is if you skip that text-heavy portion of the game, your characters are not going to build up the support that they need to actually be more effective in combat, which is rough. So, yeah. But, again, I loved it. I had a great time. I had some nitpickiness. I am glad that I'm done with this 150 plus hour playthrough. I did too much. I spent way too much in this game. Now, I've been thinking about it. I know, what was his name? DBV. I know you were asking about whether or not I'll record other playthroughs, or at least certain scenes. I'm really unlikely to do that, just because the logistics of getting that done and then posted up, it's just probably not something I'm going to do, to be honest with you. Now, if for some reason I get this big old explosion of interest in this playthrough and they really want to see other playthroughs, then by all means. But honestly, logistics to have maybe just a couple people experience my playthrough on something that could potentially be another 80 to 100 hours, it's just a lot. So as of right now, very unlikely. So my apologies there. Yeah. Well, that was fun. I had a great time. I hope you guys did too. Next up, we'll be taking on The Witcher 2. Moving on to more Western RPG, I guess, like Central Europe RPG, technically. But The Witcher 2's next, Assassin of Kings. Might check out some Yakuza as well at some point. But that's it for Fire Emblem 3 Houses. So, again, go in the comments, let me know what you think, what your opinions are. I know I had my own very strong opinions, so whether or not you agree or disagree, let me know. And thank you so much for sticking through it. I know this literally took me 2 years to do. But it's a 150-hour game, and I didn't cut a whole lot out. Just basically some of the fights. Well, that's that. So, hopefully you guys are having a great day. Take care. And I will catch you next time.